Yo, what's up everybody? Dre here, back with another video. Today, I'm actually going to be opening up some packages. As you guys know, a while back, I put a tweet out announcing my free agency. And after that free agency post, I actually made another tweet where I was reaching out to card sleeve sponsors to see if they were interested in partnering up, letting me test out their sleeves. I got an incredible amount of feedback. A lot of the big top dogs have reached out, sent me care packages. So in this video, I'm going to be using them. I'm going to sleeve the sleeves, go over how they feel, get some shuffle, see how they do, and then I'm going to actually take them to locals to put them through a real tournament kind of stress test. And then I'll come back, give my review, and at the very end of this video, I'm going to be announcing which sleeve company I'm going to be partnering with for the 2025-2026 season. Let's get it. With the first person that got the sleeves to me, that's actually going to be DualSpec. So the homie Coach Dom on Twitter, make sure you put their @ over here, and then of course DualSpec, put them right there. So they got me a package really fast. I've been holding on to them because I've been waiting for locals to come back, which right now it is early July, so locals just came back. Today will actually be my first local tournament. Not the first one I'm going to, actually, like the first one that was scheduled in Tampa Bay. So, man, they really taped this up good. There we go. So we got it opened. I know we don't. Yes, I'm using my braiding comb to open it up. Okay, it's safer than using a knife or a box cutter because it's a little pointy end. Oh, wow. Nice. Okay, so I was expecting maybe like 1 or 2 boxes. They sent me four boxes. Really sick. I was actually just expecting like 1 or 2. So first off, the packaging really clean. The DS logo pretty good. XD. So I'm guessing this is like their new formula, right? It's like they're upgraded since their very first run. I remember when DualSpec first started too. I was very interested, but unfortunately I was committed to a sleeve brand, so I couldn't really try them out. So 100 sleeves in the box, standard size. I'm a big red sleeve person, so really digging these. I like that all 100 come in one pack. I'm not a big fan of when like the sleeves come in like 2 packs of 50, because we play with 60 card decks, and sometimes like the split up can actually like cause problems. Like maybe one half of the pack is slightly different than the other half, and that can cause issues. So when they're all in one pack, it kind of makes me feel more confident they're in the same print run, so they should all be like the same shade. There shouldn't be any like color discrepancies. Okay, I like the back texture of these. It's kind of almost like a scaly, like almost like, I don't want to compare it to another company, but like I do really like the feeling of it. And there's no like glitter coming off of my hands though. So like that's just literally just like the pattern causing like a little glimmer. There's no glitter on it. So there's no glitter coming off. They feel really good. All right, time to sleeve it up. Give me a few seconds, sleeve it up, and then we'll go through, do some riffles, do some mashes, and then I'm going to take it to a tournament. And we're back. So I got all these sleeved up, nice and done up. There's plenty of space at the top, so they're not just poking up at the top. Gave them a little tap so they move down. Plenty of extras. They come in 100, so 60 card deck, you should have 40 left over, all in the same pack. Looking at the sides, the bottoms, everything seems to be matching, cohesive. There's no discoloration. There's no like big discrepancy in the colors. As far as I can tell, on the sides, everything looks really uniform, all on all the sides, and on the bottom, which is very huge, because you don't want to be running into tournaments and having any kind of bad like things poking out that could be identified. So after these are my first matches with these. So first couple matches, they feel smooth. You know, they're gliding in pretty nice, really great. They are a bit, I see, this is how, I'm not sure if people understand me when I use this describer when I talk about different sleeves, but they do feel like dry. Like when they're shuffling, they have like a dry shuffle, which, you know, when you're mashing doesn't feel the greatest, but I mean, it's mashing smoothly. But usually sleeves that tend to have drier mashes usually have better riffles. So yeah, really good riffle. When I hit the first riffle on this, very, very good. Very, very smooth. You can tell by the sound what it makes when you rip them. When you rip the riffle. When you hit that initial, let me get this little pointed down a little bit more here. Get it here so you can see. There we are. Just a little bit more of the shuffle. Yeah, definitely a nice riffle. The mash, like I said, I think it's because of the texture on the back. It makes the mashes not as slick because they're just not as slick on the back as other sleeves are. But it's still a smooth shuffle. Like, I have no issue with it. They're not snagging. They're not catching. They're not puppy earring super badly. And like I said, the riffle is like the main thing. The riffle really clean. They riffle really, really cleanly. So, I have a few shuffles in. I'm going to take these to locals, get some like in-between round updates as the tournament goes through, and I'll come back with my review at the end.
The next day.
Alright guys, I'm back after going to a 6-round challenge. It's one of the first challenges of the season, so we got 6 rounds of gameplay. I've also actually got to use like a few test hands of just like testing with the sleeves. So I mean, as far as durability goes, like if I can get this to focus, I mean, you can tell even from like non-fully focused, like no puppy earring, like very little bends on the corner, so like very durable. And even now as I'm doing like mashes, they're still very smooth. This sleeve, there's certain sleeves that the only way I can describe it is they're drier. So when I was using katanas for a while, they're not as dry. They have more of a like slick kind of feel to them. So the mash shuffling is way smoother and faster, but the like riffle shuffling, like it takes a few like riffles to get it underway. The drier sleeves usually are a little rougher on the mashes, but way better. Like you can just hear the crisp and smoothness on the riffle when I hit them. Very, very smooth, very easy. But yeah, as far as durability, I didn't split any sleeves. Corners are all very good still. So for DualSpecs, I definitely give them like a lot of credit on their durability. I do like these, really high on these. If I were to give these a score out of 10, durability was impressive to me. The count they come in is impressive. The coloring, as far as like, you know, before we even did anything, really impressive. And then the way they feel, I would give these like, I feel like these are a solid like 8.5 out of 10. Solid like 8.5 out of 10 is what I'm going to give DualSpec initially. And these grades will probably change towards the end when I go, once I've tried all of them and can compare them. Right now, the only other comparison I have is like to katanas, and I haven't used Dragon Shield in like since my first year playing, so I have no reference to like what Dragon Shields are now. But we're going to go on and move on to the next sleeves. Alright guys, our next package is from our neighbors up north. This is going to be Endgame, so we're going to open up this package, see what we got in here. Pop this open. I don't know why I'd be expecting like these packages to like be smaller. Like they be sending a lot more than I expect. Way more than I expect. Yo, Endgame, hold on. Yo, Endgame hooked us up. Alright, we got like 7 packs, and the boxes look different. So let's just take a look. Let's see what we got in here. Yeah, big shout out to Endgame. Big shout out to all of the sleeve companies that sent me the care packages. Oh wow, they just gave us like a variety. They gave us like a sampler platter. So here's the Endgame Genesis. So yeah, I asked for like any, like my favorite color is the red, so send me the red. But then they also just threw in like this what is this called? Sakura pink and Arctic blue. So these look pretty dope. Like these. I like the packaging. Packaging is really cool. So they come in 100-pack sleeves, and they have their Omegas. Okay, so these are like their newer ones, right? So they sent their Omegas. So once again, 2 packs of red and 1 pack of white. That's pretty dope. Okay, so now I'm interested because this is like, I feel like to do a fair assessment, like I need to figure out what the difference between the Omega and what the Genesis, like how they feel. So I wasn't expecting this, so this is gonna be a two-parter for Endgame. I'm actually really because I want to take these to tournaments so we can get like kind of realistic like results of in tournament wear and tear. So let's take a look. Let's see. I'm going to open up these Omegas first. Then we're going to start the Omegas. We'll start with them. Okay, so looks like we have the 2 split packs of 50, which is fine. I am more of a fan of the 100s pack because then it just feels like the all 100 sleeves came from the same print run. So it just feels like it's like more like it's helping to like avoid different packs, like different sleeves being slightly off color. But I mean, they could also all be from the same run. But I mean, first initial thought, like all the colors, like they all match. All the colors look the same. They look equal. I guess the big like measurement is going to be when I unpack the 50 and then the 10 that come out of this other pack, as long as they are like perfect matches. I can't spot like a difference in like a few sleeves. So I'll be right back after I get my deck for tonight's challenge all sleeved up. Alright, so we have them all sleeved up. Looks like we have just like everything's good, smooth, all the colors match. I don't know, on the camera like there was like one that was darker than the others, but no, we're fine. Looks all good. Everything looks even across the backs, everything, all the colors look like they match. There's nothing standing out. So as normal, so I'm just gonna do a couple of the mashes here. Just so these feel like they are a little like more on, like they have a more slickness to them, kind of like how I was talking about with like what I wanted out of the out of the DualSpecs is like a little bit more slickness on the mash. Feels like these do have like a little bit more slickness. There are more on the dry side, but they definitely have a little bit more slickness than the DualSpecs, it feels like. And then like here's a big test is like the mash shuffle. I mean not the mash shuffle, the riffle. Yeah, definitely can definitely feel there's slightly more slickness, but it's like it's not making like the riffle shuffles like impossible. So I do like the way these feel as far as the mash and riffle go. Now the next test is obviously going to be taking these to the challenge, play a few rounds with them, even come home, play a few test hands with them just to get some really good wear and tear on them, just so that we can see the durability. So I will be back, let you know what the stress test, and this is for the Omegas. We're going to have to do a part 2 of this for the Genesis. So I'll see you guys when I get back from the challenge.
The next day.
Alright guys, so I'm back. This is the next day. I actually ended up making a change for what I was playing. But these are still the Omegas. I just switched over to the whites. And I will say, out of the box, everything was about the same as the reds. The cleanliness, the color matching, the sides all being a smooth pattern, not warped or nothing. I will say, after all those rounds, there is like an impressive amount of durability. Not really any like nicks or anything like that. Even like for a bright color like white, no, not a ton of like gunk buildup, like any at all. So that's actually really surprising. Now they are like, as far as like how many, I played pretty much the same rounds I did with the DualSpec. If not, I probably played like one game less than I did with the DualSpecs. These definitely feel a little bit more worn out when it comes to mashing. They feel like they definitely lost more of their slickness. But the shuffles, the riffle shuffles are still good, still there, seem nice. What I will probably give these, like, it's just like, it's really impressive, the durability. And then, like I said, the coloring, everything, giving this like a top to bottom grade. Just because it feels like they did like wear out a little faster than DualSpecs. I gotta put them down. Like if I gave the DualSpecs an 8.5 initially, right now I'm gonna have to give these an 8.2. As far as everything else goes, the color was good. everything else like that. Really, really good. So I'm going to put these at an 8.2. Really, really did have a good time with these sleeves. Very, very solid. I think there's just a slight edge on the DualSpec as far as the longevity of like how good they felt. Goes to DualSpec for right now.
Several days later.
All right, so straight out of the pack onto the Gold Dango deck, we have the Endgame. This is Jolting Dango. We see the Iron Hands, Jolting Dango. But we've got that sleeved up in the Endgame Genesis. Now, I think the Omegas are actually their newer ones, so we're kind of taking a step backwards. With these off the rip, the riffles don't seem as smooth as either the Omegas or the Endgame. I mean, the Omegas or the DualSpecs. Definitely not smooth on the mash. Let's check the riffle. Riffle solid. Solid riffle. Seems to catch well. Yeah, definitely good on the riffle. Mash has a bit to desire. Color wise, everything looks like it's like really uniform. Not really any kind of discoloration, no like weird patterns. Everything looks nice and smooth. Nice good corners, no warping out of the box. So it's solid. Now I'm going to a challenge that's going to be shorter rounds. So we'll play like probably like 3 or 4 test games beforehand, get some more like durability to bring it up to like the level of usage of the other tournaments. And I'll be back with a review afterwards.
Later that night.
All right. So tournament went well. Had fun. The sleeves themselves, durability wise, pretty solid. I will give them that. No caught corners, nothing crazy. The mashes did just get almost impossible by the time I got in. Like they've gotten really dried out. Riffles fine. The riffles are always going to be fine on the ones, even when they're dry though. It's the mashes where it really matters. And yeah, at this point, it just feels like I need a riffle. The mashing doesn't feel really smooth. So these, as far as feel goes, color, durability, stuff like that, these are probably more in like a 7.5 range compared to the, even their own Omega. I mean, the, Omegas. So I definitely do think the Omegas are an upgrade from their Genesis. The Genesis are still a solid sleeve. Like I said, durability wise, no issues. They're like almost perfect condition. I think it's just the texture doesn't bode well for the mashes out the box, but even after like a few rounds of playing games, the mashing has gotten like pretty, like you have to put like a lot of effort into mashing. It's not as smooth. Riffles though, really good still. Solid 7.5. But I do think the Omegas are better overall. All right, finally, we are down to the last brand that I will be testing, which are FCBC. So these, we had a lot of FCBCs laying around the house because Yone is partnered with FCBC. So I used their mints, which we had a ton of. Fresh out of the box, very straight, no warping, very clean cut, nice corners, colors, matching, looking very well, looking very good. These are definitely on the drier side, just with the initial mashes. They don't feel bad, but it definitely does take a little bit more effort to make sure you get a clean mash so you're not catching. I feel like if you're just going crazy, you're probably gonna mash. But the riffle on these is like really good. I'm not gonna lie. That riffle is just super clean. It felt really, really good. That first one felt really, really good. Yeah. See, the riffling with these though feel really, really good. So these definitely are a more stiff sleeve. And a lot of people like that. I'm okay. I think I like a really, the more I've done these different sleeves and I've felt the slight differences, I think I do like the happy medium of stiff with a little bit of slack. So like I like a moderate stiffness, but enough where my mashes feel smooth. FCBC feels like the stiffest. So if you are a person that's like, hey, I want stiff sleeves because I riffle, I want them like, hey, that's probably more your bag. definitely with the happy medium that I like. They're a little stiffer than I'd like initially, but I'm gonna take them through to this locals. Same thing. I'm gonna play like maybe 3 games because the locals are probably only gonna be 4 rounds, and I'll play like 4 games here at home just to get some like even wear and tear with the other sleeves. But I will be back with an update later.
Much later.
Now we're back. So FCBC, durability wise, probably the only one that came back with like a little bit more of like the bottoms having like a little bit of puppy earring. But I do think that's just because I like to mash, and the mashing just with a stiffer sleeve, just if you're just going quick, it's probably gonna happen. So once again, it's probably not as good for the mashers as it is the rifflers. I mean, the riffles were good all day, still good even now. So the riffles are good. These are probably not the most mashable, or at least you have to be very, very like very much like catching, dropping, that you can't really go as fast if you want them to last longer. So durability wise, beside that though, really good still. The edges are like really straight still. They're not warping. The tops aren't warping. Sides aren't warping. There's not a lot of gunk build up on these these are a lighter color sleeve, which I know the problem with Dragon Shields is like the gunk would build up pretty quick. They don't seem to build up really fast on these. So these definitely solid FCBCs. I think I'm going to give these a solid. I think I'm just going to give these a solid 7.9. Just because the durability was a little bit worse, but that could have been user error, or they could have just been because, like I said, I like the mash. I like happy medium, riffle, and mashing, and these aren't the most like the easiest to mash quick. But I mean, if you're just getting these sleeves, durability through any normal, handling of the cards is going to contribute to the stress test, which these did have kind of like not as good of an after, but I mean, they're still solid. Like I said, durability, I'd still give these, like DualSpec, I'd probably give like a 9 out of 10. The 2 different brands of the Endgames, I'd probably give like an 8.5 and an 8, and then these would probably be like durability wise, these are probably like an 8 as well. But everything else really solid, good coloring, nice out of the box. So definitely FCBC, solid brand, really good product. This is my first time using it, even though I've had them around for a while. I said I was on a different sleeve brand for about 3 years. So with that concludes all of our testing. Now, final scores for all of them. I'm going to kind of just wrap it up now. Now that I've seen everything, if 10 out of 10 is the perfect sleeve, I'm going to start with Endgame. I'm going to start with the Genesis. Definitely wasn't as good as their Omegas. So the Genesis probably gets the lowest grades, probably 7 out of 10. Now, the next up from there is where I'll put FCBC, and I would probably put those at a solid 8 out of 10. We get to Endgame Omega, not the Genesis, is going to be an 8.5. And that leaves DualSpec at a 9. Now that's just going to be overall on how the sleeves feel. How they stood up to the stress test and everything like that. That's where I would rank them based on my experience with the cards. Now, once again, that's just my experience. I do like a happy medium, like pretty stiff because I do riffle, but I also mix in a lot of mashing, especially between games. I get just a few quick matches in, and so those scores are based on how they stood up to my stress test, how I shuffle, how I play. I like to get in like some really quick matches, and some sleeves they're just not as durable when I'm doing quick matches. I'm starting game 3 and I need to shuffle up fast. So like I said, all of this is based off of my style of shuffling, my experience. So thank you for sitting through, listening to my takes. I once again appreciate all of the brands for, sending their stuff out, letting me try them out. I do appreciate all of them. And I definitely would say, hey, if you're unsure, try them all yourselves and come up with your own preferences. But these are based off of my experiences, and I hope it helps some people maybe choose which brand they want to start with, or which brand they want to give a long-term commitment to because they weren't sure, because they did try them and they just don't remember from sleeve to sleeve, which can happen because this did take me a few weeks. Luckily, I took notes, kept refreshing myself when I'd watch the videos back, and I kept notes on how everything felt, so I was able to keep everything pretty fresh. So for me, even though it took a few weeks, I was able to get scores and kind of compare everything, even though they were like done different days. Now it is time for my announcement. My choice of partner for the 2025-2026 Pokemon season. How you doing, everybody? How's it going? All right. Everybody go ahead and quiet down. I'm ready to make the announcement here. It's been a long off season. A lot of thought has gone into this decision. For the 2025-26 season, I will be committing to using DualSpec sleeves. Play like a champion, baby. Here we go.